Before I share some of that information regarding the burned area emergency response, I do want to share a personal reflection. I'm sorry, how's that? Very good. I said before I speak to the burned area emergency response information, I do want to share a personal reflection. I've lived in Arizona all my life. I've lived in the Flagstaff area over 20 years, 17 of which I've worked for the Forest Service. And to echo some sentiments that Roy shared, it's just, it's really amazing to see this community work together over the years for so many different situations or incidents, and certainly here on the tail end of the Schultz fire and now with the flooding issues. You know, I feel real fortunate to be part of a community that works together, that has a helping hand to reach out, to help your neighbors. So, you know, it's what a reflection, and I just really value living here. Anyhow, as far as the burned area emergency response effort, BAER will be the acronym used. What the BAER program does is, after a large wildfire like we saw with the Schultz fire, a team comes in as quickly as possible, and I'll get into the timeline here in just a second with how we responded. But a team comes in, assesses the issues that are caused by the wildfire, and comes up with mitigation measures to address those issues. So just to set the stage with what that BAER program is. As far as the timeline, with what's been accomplished to date with the BAER and where we're headed with that, let me go to that. It's been mentioned, as most of us know, the Schultz fire started just over a month ago on June 20, over 15,000 acres. On June 26, satellite mapping was done of the Schultz fire, showing the burn intensity and the reconnaissance of that. As Dan mentioned, a good percentage of the fire was mapped, showing high soil burn severity, about 40% of the fire, which created those hydrophobic soil conditions that Dan also discussed. June 28, 8 days into the fire, local stakeholders, agency representatives, and BAER team members get together for the first time. The next day, the BAER team begins their work on the Schultz fire, June 29th. On July 2nd, the fire is deemed 100% contained. And then on July 8th, the BAER assessment report is finished. So when the BAER team comes in, like I mentioned, they're assessing the damage from the fire and how best to mitigate that fire. So now in a very short time, on the 8th, that report's finished. It's sent to the Washington office for approval. A funding request was sent. The next day, that funding request was approved for about $2.7 million. The next day, on the 10th and 11th of July, a contract was put together, and we hired 2 contractors to begin the work out there. One, as you most have seen, is the aerial mulching that's been occurring. The area that's been treated for area mulching was completed today. It was about just over 2,700 acres. And then the other contract that was let was to work on the Waterline Road, which is the road that goes up into the inner basin, where we've got 20% of the city's water comes down along that road. So there was an investment to protect that water line. Looking back now on Wednesday's event, or rather Tuesday's event with the flooding, obviously that had some impacts with the mitigation on the helimulching. If many of you have probably noticed, especially on the steeper slopes, a lot of that straw, that mulch has come down. We just that afternoon on Tuesday into Monday, we requested another BAER team member to come out and do the assessment, a rapid assessment on what's working and what isn't working. He's been out all day today. He's working on some further mitigation measures that we can proceed with. And so that's where we are now. We're looking to continue with possibly additional mulching, looking at possibly seeding the area, looking for additional funds as well, depending on his final assessment, which we hope to have in the next day or so. The other thing that I would mention, unrelated directly to the helimulching, is something to tag on with Roy. We had Wednesday morning diverted water. For those that are familiar with the Cinder Hills area, there's a road that goes into the Cinder Hills. It's Forest Road 776. We were able to respond to that. What was happening is water was coming down the Highway 89 and coming into those that live in the Fernwood area. Certainly saw impacts of that. That Monday morning between 8 and 1 o'clock, we got out and we were able to address that issue and divert the water down the road towards the Cinder Hills. So I think it's a very effective measure, and we appreciate, again, that interagency collaboration that we were able to react so quickly to get that done, and certainly now near the landfill area. So that is an update on the BAER mitigation efforts. Certainly come out if you have questions and see us out in the foyer. So thank you.